My parents and grandparents came to Milwaukee in the 1940s, which was part of the Great Migration. I grew up in Milwaukee. As a matter of fact, I used to play down here. I grew up in the downtown part of Milwaukee and the west side. I attended Milwaukee Public Schools and I graduated. I attended UWM and MATC before I came to my senses, pulled the plug and went off to a black college where I graduated. But then I came back to Milwaukee. I got married. I was ready to have my part of the American dream. I got married, my husband and I. We got jobs at the city. I even went to library school. Now, at the time when I went to library school, I didn't realize that it required a master's. Most people don't. And the people at UWM was shocked when the black woman came to get a library degree. So my husband and I, we both got jobs at the city. We both got good jobs at the city. We bought a house. We bought a little blue foreign car. I'm a multitasker, so I also had a baby during this time. We did really well. And we lived on 19th and Locust, which is the inner city. And then one day we woke up and we said, we're gonna grab all this American dream, just like the Jeffersons. We're gonna move it on up. And in this case, we're gonna move it on up to the suburbs. But being good city employees, because at that time they had a clause that said you had to live within the city lines, we moved up to the far north side, as far as you could get, and one block inside of Milwaukee. So we were in suburban heaven. We lived there for 4 years. We both got great promotions on our jobs. We were union leaders. Everything was going fine. Then one day my husband came home and he said, you know, those people at City Hall, they're so dumb. I know I could do better than this. I think I'm gonna run for alderman. And I looked at him because I thought he had lost his mind or maybe he'd had a bad lunch or something. And I said, well, how are you gonna run for, that's an elected position? He said, yeah, I'm gonna run for that. I know I can do better than them. And I said, well, you know, these people out here it might be fashionable to have a black neighbor, but they ain't getting ready to vote for no black man, so ain't no way you can win this. So then that's when he broke the news. We're gonna have to move back into the city. So we moved. We moved to 16th and Capitol, bought a house. Everything, my husband lost the election, but then he won the next special election, and he became an elected official. Everything went fine, but then in 1989, we were crushed. Our house was broken into, we were burglarized. We were burglarized in Blackfish Bay. Can you believe that? We got burglarized. I called the insurance company. I called the police, and I called the locksmith. The locks cost $365 to fix. The insurance man assured me that we would be covered. And the police said, well, this happens, you know. Maybe you should get a dog. Well, the insurance man assured me that everything would be okay and that we would be covered. So I itemized our other losses, and they came to over $2,000. I called him back, and he said, oh, Diane, you know, that won't be covered. First he said the check was in the mail, the check never came, so finally I tracked him down in his office, and then he tells me that our loss won't be covered because we live in the inner city. And I was saying, well, this don't make no sense to me. I know I graduated from Milwaukee Public Schools, but this house, the house on 16th Street, cost the same amount to the penny as the house as the house on 55th Street. We moved the same things there, the same clothes. We were so broke we couldn't even buy a tablecloth. So it was the same house, but it wasn't covered because he claims that the policy that was on 16th Street was like a policy, you know, like when you buy a house up north. I said, how many black people you know is buying houses up north? And this house is in the city, it is not up north. So he didn't pay. So I told him that I would cost him more than that $2,000. So from then on, by now my husband was elected. From then on, every weekend I went to some event and I told my story. And finally, I landed at the head table for the NAACP. And as we sit down, and before they could pass the peas, I started telling my story of how American Family had victimized me and how they were taking money. To my surprise, the head of the NAACP had heard of my story, and by now several other people realized that they weren't the only ones and that this was happening to other people. So he invited me to the group to a town hall meeting. They flew in big-time attorneys from New York, and we decided to do a class action suit. So we sued American Family. Lo and behold, the $2,000 that they didn't pay me cost them $16.5 million.